My parents made me pay my mean sister money for her company after she stole my grandmother's money. When I told them she was lying, they stopped paying for my college. As a 17-year-old girl, I had to give my older sister the money my grandma had given me a few months before so she could follow her business dreams. My bigger sister Connie has always teased me, even though she is 6 years older than me. It seems like she has a grudge against me. She bothers me just because she can, though. She knows that because she has. She will get away with it because she has been doing it since we were kids. When I told my parents how Connie treated me, they said I was being too emotional and told me over and over again not to make a big deal out of things. I now knew that my parents were tricking me into thinking that what my older brothers did was normal and that I had no reason to be upset. I can promise you, though, that Connie was much worse than my other older brothers because she didn't play around with me and her abuse of me wasn't funny. Of course, when I was younger, she would always say mean things to me to bring me down. My parents would tell me to be quiet, but they would never address her, even though she was the one making me cry. Even though that was bad in and of itself, at least it was said. But it was one event when I was 13 that made me realize Mom hated me, not just didn't like me. In other words, Connie brought some of her friends with her when my family and I drove to the beach. She was 19 years old at the time and had just come home from college for the weekend. She spent all of their time with her friends, and it looked like her friends hated me just as much as she did. This made things even worse for me. All of them must. I guess they have the same kind of mental sickness that made them hate people who had never hurt them. In any case, they laughed and made fun of me the whole time I was there. There I was, sitting alone on the pier with my feet in the water because I was sick of them and wanted to take a break from them. After being kicked in the back, I felt like a plastic bag was being pushed over my head. This made me fall into the water. It took me I didn't understand what was going on for a while, but when I did, I saw my sister and her friends laughing and running away while I played in the water. Thank goodness I'm a good swimmer. As soon as I got over being scared, I swam back to the beach as fast as I could while holding the plastic bag over my head. I broke down in tears when I got back to my parents' house because it was the worst thing that had ever happened to me. My sister and her friends tried to play it off as a funny practical joke, but things were about to get much worse. My dad had always been a whiner, but he laughed with them and told me I was making things up. Their story was that I would not have been hurt. My dad even made fun of the fact that all those swimming lessons would have paid off in the end. There was no way I could have breathed with that small plastic bag over my head. Besides that, I might have drowned if I hadn't quickly realized what was happening and taken the bag off my head. They all seemed to think it was funny, even though a lot of things could have gone wrong. I knew that my parents did not like me as much as they liked their other daughters. That event, however, stuck with me, and I decided right then and there that I would no longer treat any of these people as family. I couldn't trust any of these people, so my main goals were to do well in school, get into college, and then drop out. Since then, I haven't talked to Connie, but I also can't treat my parents badly. The same way because I live with them. I really didn't want to give up the money I got as an inheritance 3 months ago, but I had to act nice to them, which was another reason. My grandmother, who was my dad's mother, died almost a year ago. The gift was finally given to us 3 months ago. She left the place where she used to live. We each got $5,000 from her, but she gave most of it to my parents. She did, however, give me a diamond ring that she owned because I had told her before how much I liked it, and she had joked that I could have it after she died. I planned to put away a good chunk of it for the future. My parents then told me that Connie was indeed. She wanted to start her own business and needed to get as much money as she could. It was up to me to keep helping her, even though they were already doing that. I didn't think it was fair that I had to help out since it was her job. The worst thing about her is that she has always been mean to me. Why do I need to help this person right now? Even after they fought with me for a few days, my dad told her he would not pay for my college and would not let me go home if I didn't help her. I said no. I finally said yes because I was scared and annoyed with the situation. It was very hard for me to avoid making a choice that wasn't the best. I had tests too. As a test and had to study, I didn't think it was worth it to keep fighting with these guys. I gave up my fortune because I wanted some peace and quiet and didn't want my parents to bother me. In the end, they let me keep my ring, probably because they didn't know it was a real diamond because of the will. My grandmother only talked about the blue stone ring, which is why I knew what she was talking about. It was important, so I was smart and kept quiet, which worked out well for me. I gave up the 5 to end the argument, grand that my grandmother gave me. After 3 months, I got an offer to go to the college I wanted. In a few weeks, I'll start working. They promised to keep their word, and they are. They are going to pay for all of my costs, even my fees. They will also pay for everything since I will be living out of state. I guess giving up my $5,000 wasn't such a bad idea after all, since I won't have to think about money while I'm in college. Things have been going well for me, and they still are in a way. But I feel bad about what I did because a few days ago my sister had a launch party for her store's official opening. She works with the same friends from college that friends with the women who threw me into the water with a plastic bag on my head because they thought it was funny. Their huge shoe and accessory business sells very simple things, but the 3 of them feel like they've done something groundbreaking because they think their works are so cute. Anyway, I already know that their friends will buy there because they have a lot of guys who agree with them on everything. I rubbed it in my sister's face by sending her a bunch of pictures from the launch party via email, but there was a chance that she would have had a great career. There's no doubt that I wasn't invited to the party. They told me I wasn't invited because I was 17 and the event was only for adults, so they couldn't bring me. There was a lot of crap there, so I wasn't really interested in going. But the day after the party, Connie texted me a bunch of pictures and said she wanted me to feel like I was at the great party she threw the day before. Then, in a rude move, she told me I had to give her $5,000 because she couldn't have done it without my help. I have no idea why, but it began to bother me. I went right to my gallery to check my suspicions after seeing the guy in the feed snapshots. Since he was only in the background of a few of the pictures, I couldn't tell from them alone if they were dating or not. I could still tell that he was her ex-boyfriend from high school, even though he had put on some weight and grown out his beard. This guy, let's call him Simon, started dating her the day she turned 18. He was only 25 at the time. He and I went to the same high school. But the truth is that he finished a lot before Connie did, and they met online when she was only 16. I thought it was creepy that he asked her to go on a date on her real 18th birthday, but Connie thought it was sweet. Thank goodness right at this point, my parents were good people and told her they didn't want her to go out with someone who was in their 20s, but had been waiting for her to turn 18. They told her not to go on dates with him, but she seemed to have ignored them and kept dating him in secret. At the time, he worked for his father's business. They dated for 8 months before breaking up because he was going to Wyoming to work on a farm with his uncle after rumors spread that his father had caught him trying to steal from the company. She went back home to ask my dad to find him a job here so he wouldn't have to do what his parents wanted and let himself be sent to Wyoming to break things. Mom and Dad found out that she was still with him when they met up with her. Her feelings were hurt. But my dad didn't listen to her advice. She swore she would never talk to him again and would block him everywhere. On the one hand, Connie begged our parents not to make her break up with him and told them he would be better. On the other hand, those words turned our whole house upside down. On the other hand, my mother was crying nonstop while my dad scolded her for going out with this obviously bad person even though they told her not to. It goes without saying that no one did anything with me that day, and I was told to stay in my room and don't leave. I decided to follow him on social media though, because I had heard a lot of people talk about him. And when someone makes a lot of noise in your house, you tend to remember their face. It didn't take me long to decide to get back at Connie when I saw him lurking in the background of her shots. Because they didn't see me as family, Connie and my parents were pretty open about the business going on around me. At that point, I knew that it had been hard to convince her friends' parents, but not so much with my own parents. I think it would be best because all the other owners are so stupid and bad at what they do. It's hard to find more backers. Most of the time, they were trying to get their parents to join the company. Still, I was sure that the last person who had been waiting for this business plan was her friend's single mother, who wasn't sure if she should put so much money into a shoe and accessory business. So she wouldn't end up in a bad investment situation, she told her daughter to get a job, do that for a few years, learn from it, and then come back to this. Connie had been mad at this woman at home a lot, but she and her friends were set on making things work. They finally decided that they could get by for now with the money they had, and that the mother of their third friend would give them money if the business did well. They agreed to do that, and now they had to make sure that the first few months of their business were a huge success in order to keep their promise. Their cash was just enough to get them through a few months. However, unless by some chance they were able to make enough money to stay open, they would definitely need more money after that. But to be honest, it didn't seem likely that a business plan would break even this quickly, especially since they were small and it was hard to get into the clothes business. I knew that the parent who had been waiting until now would only need one reason to back out of this plan. I also knew that this trick might work. So I made up a fake account to get in touch with her and asked her to call me because I needed to talk to her about something important about her daughter's business. I made sure she called me through Facebook call because I didn't want to give her my real phone number. She wasn't sure if this was real, so I think it is. She had to wait a few hours before calling me. I think her interest won out in the end, though. After that, I told her what I had seen and who was taking pictures in the background of every picture without being seen. At first, she didn't believe me when I told her that my only job was to warn her. After this, she could choose if she still wanted to invest in this company or not. I hung up the phone with her, emailed her some old pictures of Simon and Connie, and let her make the final choice. As of the next day after I called, she seems to have changed her mind and told her daughter to do the same. Things have taken a very bad turn. Not a single person knows that I was in charge of any of this. But Connie has been calling our parents to try to get them to talk to the mother who pulled out and try to convince her to change her mind. It looks like she's back together with Simon, and the fact that she kept something similar from them has made her friends very angry. She made up his name though, so no one would be able to tell who he was. Our folks don't like her very much for this reason. To put it another way, she has a lot going on and everyone is mad at her. But I just can't seem to make myself enjoy everything, even though I really want to, now that I know how important this business was to her. I was wondering if I was being too selfish and if what I was doing was right. A few hours ago, I heard our parents talking about how mad they were at her. They were so mad that they were thinking about taking their money out of her business because she had broken their trust. These people rarely ever get mad at her, so this is very unusual. Also, something doesn't feel as good as I thought it would, which meant she had problems. Are you mad at me for being picked on as a child and for trying to get a possible investor to back out of my sister's business? Change 1. Hello everyone. I value you reading my post and giving me good advice. I think all of you are right. It's possible that I was too ethically closed off to enjoy this, but I'm being smart and won't say what I did. Because they would throw me out of the house if they found out I was the one who did all of this. In addition, since I'll be 18 in a few months, there is also nothing that will stop them from doing that. I really can't let that happen because I need them to pay for my school. Since my last piece a week ago, Connie's position has gotten a lot worse, since the mother who broke the agreement got her daughter to do the same. They are the only ones left at this point. But this other friend of hers is mad at her and insists that She doesn't trust Connie as much now that she knows about her secret lover who stole from his father's business, so she wants to split the 60/40th shares of the company. She told them that Simon was the man she had been seeing for a few months after meeting him on a dating app. She was trying to hold on to that story, but when her friend's mother told the truth, no one believed her. It got so bad that she tried to pass off the photos as real, saying that they might have been photoshopped to make her look dishonest. She's been seeing our parents almost every day, and these people have told her off for what she did, but they have also kept trying to help her. Every single night, the three of them meet with their lawyer to try to come up with a way for her not to lose her share in the business. There is a good chance that they will have to stop because of this problem if they can't solve it right away. To be honest, I've chosen not to think about this at all. I'm not sure how I'll feel about it. Now that no one really cares about me, I can come and go as I please and do pretty much anything I please, since Connie is having a bad time. There is only one good thing that came out of the situation. It's nice. It has made me less of a focus for sure. Connie is also too busy with her own problems to pay attention to me when she comes around. They also don't say anything to me. In this way, I'm spending my last few weeks at home before going to college. So far, so good. It's not my job to tell anyone what I do every day. Also, I don't think my parents or Connie will know if I stay at my friend's house longer than I planned, even if I only stay there for a few days. However, as I already said, this is the only good thing that could happen, and I hope they leave me. I'll be by myself until it's time for me to start college. Plus, I'm crossing my fingers that this won't change my parents' decision to pay for my schooling, which is something I hadn't really thought about before. But I thought about it while I was writing this. If it does, I'll be in a lot of trouble. But the fact that Connie is in worse shape than I am will make me feel better. Update 2: I haven't written anything in about 2 weeks. I also thought I was safe because nothing important had happened to me until last week. I no longer believe that, though. At some point, though, I think the woman I had called gave in to the pressure and told Connie exactly how she had found out about the past connection. Only telling Connie that she did it wasn't the whole story. She found out because someone called her without telling her and sent her some pictures. It's not a secret that Connie knew him, was in a relationship with him, and didn't really end things with him. There is no longer anyone truly stupid. Everyone now knows that the pictures were real and that she didn't meet him on a dating app. It was clear that she thought of me first when she heard about the unknown phone call. I felt terrible that I was downstairs when she came to see us yesterday. I had planned to go hang out with a friend. However, she stomped into the house and gave me the hardest shove she could muster as soon as she saw me. I pushed her back and lost my balance. I was also very angry. In a yelling fit, she grabbed me by the hair and said she was sure I had made the call, threatening to hold me responsible for what I did. Even though I was scared, I didn't want to show it on my face in case she found out the truth. I wanted to hold on to the belief that it wasn't me. When I got mad, I yelled at her, telling her it wasn't me and that I wouldn't even know who to talk to, because I had only met her friend's parents once, at a lunch party, a few weeks before the store opened. Even though I knew I was lying, I did my best to make it look like it made sense. We screamed at each other for a short time before our parents stepped in and told us to stop. Connie then told me she didn't trust anything I said and that I had ruined her hopes of becoming a great businesswoman, so I had to let her and my parents go. As I mentally got ready for this, I went through my phone and laptop, but I still had a temper fit because if I just said yes, it would sound fishy. However, since I had fully erased all of my devices of any data, in which case they would have known I was the one who called anonymously, I had nothing to worry about. Also, Connie was totally wrong when she thought I called her friend's mother from my own phone number. I actually called her from a Facebook account I made just to call her friend's mother and then removed. Even though she and my parents looked through all of my social media accounts, they couldn't find anything. I got her really mad, and she started yelling that I had erased all of my devices on purpose, and she knew it was me. She said I told her friends about her relationship with Simon, but she couldn't find any proof to back up her claim. I fought with her and told her she didn't have the right to blame me and that she was crazy because she was going to lose her business. I was sure I was safe, but then my parents called me and told me that even though they couldn't find any proof to back up my claim that I was the one who leaked the information, they still believed Connie because she seemed so sure of it. They also couldn't have told anyone else that they saw Simon at the party but couldn't figure out who he was. That's why they couldn't have been the cause. That means there are only 2 of us since Connie gave us. Those pictures with Simon in the background are just meant to bother me. And it was clear that I might have been offended. Then it turned out to be exactly what I was afraid would happen. They told me they were pulling out of their plan to pay for my college because they knew it was me, even though they couldn't find any proof. They didn't want to argue about this any further, so I was now on my own. Then it was my turn to cry and scream, but no one seemed to care because I wasn't Connie. After begging, yelling, and crying for about 30 minutes without getting a response from them, I finally went back to my room. As a distraction, I locked myself in and started writing this report. I could offer the diamond ring for sale, but I'm not sure if it would be enough to pay for my 3 years of school. My grandma gave it to me, and I still have it. There are only a few weeks left until the due date, so I'm thinking about getting a student loan and asking a family member to be a co-signer. For that matter, I can't take any risks, even if it means I have to sell the ring to pay for the first term. I'm not sure about the rest, and I'll have to figure it out later. Number 3. Hello everyone. A lot has happened since my last post. I haven't written on my blog in a month, so let me start by telling you about my experience. While I was gone for college, I moved out of my parents' house a few days after my last post because I had no reason to stay with them or stay in touch with them. I got rid of my things and moved in with a friend. Now that we had talked about everything, she told me I could move in with her and her family. She was taking a gap year, and after staying with her for a few days, she and her parents told me that she had no desire to go to college at all and wanted to start working at her dad's business. Their college fund could help me pay for school, but only for a short time because they had saved it for her. I tried my best to say no, but her parents talked me out of it because I knew them and they said it would be just as much to send their own girl to college. I took them up on their offer because I couldn't say no. Even though I'm sure they don't expect me to, I'm going to make sure I pay them back. Thank you so much to my friend and her parents for letting me stay on campus without even asking me to sell my grandmother's ring. Connie's story also didn't end well because she sold all of the company's stock, leaving her friends as the only ones who owned the store. Now it was clear that no one could really trust her, so she had to give up and move on. My parents were sorry, but they couldn't stop it because they had no control over it. She probably doesn't like it because she came up with the idea in the first place, but I think she should be happy because I don't think the business will do well in the long run. That doesn't bother me though, because I no longer talk to them. I will only think about my future for now.